What I'm talking about are ways that you can remain calm and centered, grounded and relaxed, no matter what the circumstances. We've talked about how there's really two ways to deal with this. One is to look at worry and the mental component of distress, and another one is to look at tension or the physical component of distress. What I want to talk about now is a technique to deal with worry, and it's called talk it through. Now, of course, this is a technique that many of you have used. You use it with counselors, you use it with friends. Sometimes people use it with life coaches or consultants. We talk through the problems that we have, the worries that we have, and by talking them through, then we are no longer so consumed in our mind. We no longer have that mental distress, that worry, that constant mind chatter. Now, what I want to talk about is how you can do this talk it through technique, even if you don't have a coach or a counselor or a minister or someone else to talk it through with. I actually prefer, once in a while, talking it through with myself. There are two ways that I want to suggest that you can do this. One way is you talk it through with yourself when you actually imagine yourself talking to yourself either in the present time or the past or the future, or even a part of yourself. And another is you talk it through with yourself when you're imagining you're talking to someone else, someone that you either have met and you've known in your past, or even someone who you haven't known. Well, first of all, this technique of talking it through with yourself, either in the present time or the future. You go to a place that's quiet and that you won't be disturbed, and you actually imagine that there's two of you. One way to do this is to take a chair and sit in it. So what that looks like is you literally take a chair and you put it over here, and then you take another chair and you put it over here, and you sit in this chair and you talk to that person, which of course is you, from that space. And you sit there and you tell the person, of course yourself, what your problem is. And then, after you've described that, you get up from this chair, you sit in this chair, and you give back your best counsel. Because you have your best counsel. It's amazing how much you know that you don't always know you know. And this technique is designed to be able to get you to be able to talk it through with yourself. Now, when you're doing that, sometimes what you'll realize is that something comes out of your mouth that you've never said before. That's the key. Sometimes you think something you've never thought, and you tell it to yourself. As I mentioned, you can either talk this through with yourself and imagine that it's present time, or you can even imagine that who you're talking to is an older, wiser, more mature version of yourself. On the other hand, you can also imagine that you're talking to a younger version of yourself. This is really great when you've had some history that maybe hasn't been as wonderful as you've liked. Maybe you even have some traumatic history. Well, then sit down, have two chairs, and talk to that younger, traumatized version of yourself. You're really allowing that younger consciousness that's within you to express itself, to talk it through. And then you're allowing your current day self to give you counsel. Now, I want to present one other idea here, which is the talk it through when you imagine that who you're talking to is someone older and wiser, someone that is not you, but maybe a hero of yours, maybe someone you've looked up to, maybe a historical figure or someone out of your family. The technique is the same. You put two chairs down. You put down this chair that you're going to sit in, and then you put down this chair where you're going to imagine that older, wiser, more mature person that you've met or maybe haven't met is going to sit. Then you sit yourself down in this chair and you tell your tale. You talk about what you're worrying about. And of course, this person's never going to tell anybody. So you can be completely candid. You can be fully sincere. You can outline everything. You can speak as if you were talking to someone who is maybe a priest or an attorney who is never going to share any of it. Now, once you've explained the whole problem that you're worried about, you get up out of this chair, you put your body in this chair, and you imagine you're that person, and you give yourself counsel. Then you get up out of that chair and you come back, and you might even argue against that counsel, or you might even thank that person for that counsel, or you might ask that person who you are imagining sitting there a question. And then, of course, once you've asked that question, you get up out of that chair, you move yourself over, you pretend you're that person, and you answer the question. I know that what I'm recommending here is unusual. I'm recommending it because I use it so often. I have assisted many people to use this technique, and it works. It really works to be able to unlock the brilliance that lies within you. It really works to be able to assist you to move beyond that worry, that mind chatter, to a place where you're grounded, centered, where you're calm and relaxed, no matter what the circumstances. So give it a shot, and take 2 empty chairs and see what you get.